Good morning, everybody. I request Chairman Mr. Shankar to take over the session and lead it. Thank you.
Thank you, Purnamati, and good morning, everyone. First of all, I hope all are safe and healthy. This is a very testing times for all of us, and I'm sure all of us are taking adequate protection to take care of ourselves and our family and our near ones and all our colleagues. May I request, first, Mr. Suresh Kumar, Joint Secretary, Logistics, Ministry of Commerce, Government of India. Mr. Nitin Vyas, Member, CII, National Institute of Logistics, and Managing Director and CEO of BOMER India. Mr. Prahlad Tanwar, Partner and National Lead, Transportation and Logistics, KPMG India. Distinguished speakers, invitees, ladies and gentlemen, good morning once again. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the virtual conference on e-commerce retail supply chain 2021 with a focus on surfing on the biggest wave of the century. I consider it my privilege to welcome Mr. Suresh Kumar, Joint Secretary, Logistics, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. Mr. Suresh Kumar is a Joint Secretary in the Department of Commerce, Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Besides his portfolio, includes being head of many associations and also in charge of administration of EP, vigilance, and Kimberley process. Previously, he was heading Government E-Markets, which is Government EGEM. He's a 2000 batch IAS officer from the Andhra Pradesh cadre. He has over 20 years of governance and leadership experience in various capacities at the state and central level. As Private Secretary to the Cabinet Minister of Urban Development and Housing Affairs, Government of India, he was closely involved in several flagship programs like the Smart Cities Mission, Swachh Bharat Mission, Housing for All, and Urban Mobility. He has worked extensively in underdeveloped areas in Andhra Pradesh state, initiated several innovative programs in poverty reduction, health, education, employment generation, infrastructure, local governance, housing, and sanitation. It is also my privilege to welcome Ms. Nitin Vyas, Member, CIA National Committee on Logistics and Managing Director and CEO of BOMER India. Mr. Nitin Vyas has been working in the leadership position of the BOMER Group of India subsidiaries during the last 8 years, has been able to get BOMER India to diversify from a single product, single industry, which is catering to cement, to all active segment of BOMER Group globally, both in bulk as well as discrete material handling and market leadership position in airports, logistics, cement packaging plant businesses. He's been a pioneer in introducing India's first high-speed loop sortation systems in 2008 for airport baggage handling system, with involvement in implementing of all loop sorters in Indian markets since then, and in 2016 was instrumental in first loop sorter for organized retail distribution center. I also take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Prahlad Tanwar, Partner and National Lead, Transport and Logistics, KPMG in India. Mr. Prahlad has 20 years of experience in transport and logistics sector and advises a range of stakeholders, including operators, investors, regulators, and end users on sector-related initiatives. He spent a decade with the AP Maersk Group in roles across India, USA, Germany, and China. Prahlad has majored in anthropology and sociology from St. Xavier's College in Mumbai and is an alumnus of the IIM Bangalore. About CIA Institute of Logistics, let me say a few things. The CIA Center of Excellence across India are supporting the Indian industry to various services on key areas of India's sustainable growth. To address the needs of sharpening India's corporate competitive edge through better logistics and supply chain practices, CIA Institute of Logistics was established as a center of excellence in logistics and supply chain. The institute creates a platform for Indian industry to gain more insights into emerging trends, industry-specific problems of national importance, and global best practices in logistics and supply chain management. Initiatives of the CIA Institute of Logistics. TRACK is a mentorship program. This is a unique initiative to identify young supply chain champions Through extending mentoring support and structured engagement, trainees pass through 4 stages of structured learning process, get highly experienced mentor support, learn through peer interaction, and cross-industry experience sharing. Today, I'm happy that the first edition of Track Winners will be facilitated in this inaugural session. CII Institute of Logistics this year has initiated 2 new courses under the CII school curriculum: MBA Supply Chain Analytics and Management and PhD Supply Chain and Logistics. Already CII has an MBA in supply chain, and these are just additional courses. Since inception, the school has maintained a track record of 100% placement. I would like to thank all the companies who have come forward to support this initiative and increase students with job offers. MOVE is the the logistics membership to create movement in the Indian logistics industry. Collectively, all logistics supply chain stakeholders can join the MOVE platform and transform the industry. Together, we can. Women Logistics Leadership. This new initiative, Women Logistics Leadership, is aimed at bringing better gender diversity to our industry. CII Institute of Logistics, under the aegis of WLL, is offering a scholarship for all women candidates joining MBA in Supply Chain Analytics course. This is a small stepping stone to strengthen women in logistics. Moving forward, would like to have the following digital events will be coming up this year. One is the Global Supply Chain Summit, Building Warehousing Competitiveness, Automotive Supply Chain, and of course, the most awaited and prestigious Scale Awards Edition 8. About the conference, global e-commerce is poised to reach 18% of retail sales in this year. It's a very, very significant change to what it was, say, a couple of years ago. This is a significant indicator of the potential demand and calls for immediate action to adjust e-commerce and retail supply chain configurations. Recent reports indicate that the key reason for people to shop online is free delivery at their doorsteps. Partnership with third-party logistics service providers are increasingly becoming strategic. The growing trend of warehousing space absorption by third-party logistics service provider and e-commerce distribution center is one of the prime growth drivers of the Indian logistics sector. Warehousing infrastructure providers have greater role to play in evaluating industrial building quality to global standards. The size of operation necessitates high degree of automation and digitalization. This conference is aimed at strengthening the demand for e-commerce and retail supply chain innovation and partnerships to maximize gains. 3 focus sessions will focus on discussion related to infrastructure capabilities, handling, packing, and compliance requirements, and location-based services as key differentiators. Last mile delivery, improving reliability and service level, innovation and sustainability practices of winning fulfillment centers, world-class e-commerce fulfillment centers, new reality in India. I hope the participants in this digital conference will contribute actively to the deliberations and take back valuable points and insights. May I now request Mr. Prahalad Thanwar, Partner and National Lead Transportation and Logistics, KPMG in India, to deliver his address on e-commerce logistics in India, overview and outlook. Over to you, Prahalad.
Thank you, Shankar. Just give me a minute while I... Thanks again, Shankar, and good morning, Mr. Suresh Kumar and my fellow panelists. Thanks for the introduction, Shankar. I'm going to take the next 10 minutes to share a quick overview of the e-commerce retail logistics market in India and also the outlook for the sector. I assume my screen is visible. I will proceed. Right. I think for starters, and the first point that I wanted to share with the audience today is the size of the global e-commerce retail market, right? And how India is placed vis-a-vis the e-commerce retail revolution that we're seeing across the world. In India, I think it's fair to say now that the e-commerce retail industry as we know it is about 10 or 12 years into the making. Having said that, we're still at a very nascent phase for various reasons. If you see the global size of the e-commerce retail market, it is pegged at approximately $4 to $4.2 trillion in FY20. And when I highlight this $4 to $4.2 trillion, I'm talking specifically about online retail and not necessarily ticketing and other financial products, right? So this is only retail. And it's very interesting when you see this, the way this first world map is set up. You'll see that almost 25% of the global market is actually commanded by China today, right? Highly active when it comes to e-commerce retail. And no surprise, you have the United States, which is also a sizable chunk. And what's interesting here is India, even though we're such a large market, we're relatively small compared to markets like the United Kingdom and Japan, even though we have a significantly higher population. I think the reasons for this is simply substantiated by some of the following points. And the first point is, if we go to point number 2, which is the penetration of e-commerce retail in FY20 as a share of the total retail market in of a particular country. You'll find that in China, the share of e-commerce retail, online retail, is today 24% of the total market. The size of the retail market in China is estimated at $5 trillion US dollars, and 24% of that approximately is online. The United States, the penetration of online retail of the overall retail market, which again is approximately $4.9 trillion, is 12%. And in India, the total size of the retail market is estimated at $1 trillion, and the penetration of online retail today is approximately 4%, right? So lots of headroom for growth. We're going to see significant ramp up. If we then move up to point number 3 here, and one of the reasons that demonstrate why we're still only approximately $40 billion market is, if you look at the population, which is the first box here, you see that 1.3 billion people. However, only 41% of the Indian population today uses the internet. And more importantly, only about 12% of this 41% actually uses online as a form to retail. If you then look at the United States, population of approximately 325 million, you'll find that almost 90% of the population today has access to the internet. And more interestingly, you'll see that 62% of the American population today is very active with online retail. And then you look at China, almost comparable to India in terms of population, 1.4 billion. You'll find that almost 60% of the population today has active internet access. But look at the degree of active online shoppers, it's 46%. So it's almost 4x of what it is in India, right? And these are just interesting stats, because while we believe that the sector has seen mercurial growth over the last decade, I think a lot of the action is ahead of us. We're going to see a lot more adoption in the years to come, and these statistics and numbers just support that. Another very interesting fact, which I've labeled as number 4, is the number of annual e-commerce orders per customer. And we're finding in India, we're still at early stages of adoption, because on average, a customer like you and I, we shop maybe 12 times every year online, whereas in the US, it's 50. And in China, a normal person places about 80 orders every year on online retail platforms. I think now taking a closer look at India specifically, right? And now that we've set the global context, we're saying that the total size of the e-commerce retail market in India today is about 38 to 40 billion US dollars. And how have we reached that number, right? It's a simple formula that we use. We use the e-com retail market size in the form of GMV, or gross merchandise value, which is arrived at by multiplying the shipment volume by the average shipment value. And what you'll see here is that in the past 5 years, in the period from FY15 to FY25, the sector has seen rapid growth of slightly over 50% CAGR. And the expectation is that over the next 5 years, because we have a sizable base now, we're going to see somewhere between 35-38% year-on-year growth. And the expected market size in FY25, it will be closer to 120 billion, 120 billion US dollars from the current 40 billion US dollars, right? And if we were to look at this journey from FY15 to FY25, and we were to look at it in the form of both the volume growth and the category mix, very interesting insights here to share. First is back, and I think this is the most pertinent when we talk about logistics and role for logistics. Back in FY15, the total number of shipments per day of e-commerce shipments in India was approximately 400,000 shipments per day, or 0.4 million TEUs. If you look at where we are today in FY20, the estimated number of shipments in FY20 per day was somewhere between 4 and 4.5 million shipments per day. Fast forward to FY25, sorry, that should be FY25, the number of shipments per day are expected to be closer to 25 million. So we're seeing a significant, massive transformation in terms of just the number of shipments that are going to play out. You will see the growth in the first 5-year period is about 60% year on year, and over the next 5 years, we expect it to be closer to 40% year on year. In this period, it grew by 10x, and the expectation is to grow to 5x to 6x over the next 5 years. And also very interesting is not just the shipments, but actually what exactly consumers are buying today, right? And how that influences logistics, very important. You'll see back in FY15, there was a relatively higher share of electronics and high-tech products, right, compared to what we are anticipating to see in FY25. In FY25, we expect to see that the larger chunk of shipments will really shift to fashion. And I think why this is important is that we're already seeing a significant shift in the order value size. In FY15, the average order value was approximately $33 US. Today in FY20, the average order value has already come down significantly and is currently estimated at $23 US. And the expectation is that in FY25, the average order value, because of the growing instances of fashion and other lower value products, will actually be as low as $15 US, right? So we're seeing significant overall growth in number of shipments, but we're also seeing a diminishing value in the order size. And, as you can imagine, that's going to put some degree of pressure on logistics, because as the value of products being shipped goes down, there's also going to be more pressure to deliver more efficiently, more cost effectively over the next few years, right? So that's just a quick overview of the structure of, really what e-commerce retail is all about and the direction it's taking. I also want to spend a couple of minutes quickly highlighting a very interesting point, and that is linked to where is the growth going to come over the next few years, really. In the first wave, if you look at the first graph here, you will see that in FY15, 70 and a little bit over 70% of all shipment orders really came from the metros and some tier 1 cities. But you'll see that this is the combination of, as the numbers grow, you'll find that the share of the metros and tier 1 cities versus the tier 2 and other cities is also starting to change, which essentially means that we're going to see more and more orders come from smaller cities, from more distant locations, and that's also going to create more opportunities for logistics, because really logistics companies and logistics capabilities are going to have to deliver these the demand that is coming up from these smaller towns and cities across the country, right? You'll also find that because of the ability today to offer more advanced services, and cash on delivery is something we're all familiar with, you'll find that in tier 2 and smaller cities, there's a tendency to lean towards cash on delivery shipments. And because this is becoming, a very normal part of the e-com retailer's service offering, we're going to find a large shift between how tier 2 and other cities shop today versus how the metros shop today. Interesting point to note is 30% of total retail spending originates from only about 10% of the Indian population. And this has traditionally resided in the metro cities. Delhi and Mumbai alone contribute for almost 80% or 8 to 10% in this case of this 10 to 12 number. However, we are witnessing significant per capita increase in the tier 1 and smaller cities, and that's going to drive the transformation of the next 5 years. And now looking at logistics, because we've actually set the stage for the the wider e-commerce retail industry. But where does really logistics come into all this, right? The first thing that I just wanted to peg here is that the sector has seen almost 50% growth over the last 5 years, year-on-year growth. And the expectation is continue to grow at about 35% over the next 5-year period. We're currently approximately a $2.5 billion market here in India. And what's interesting is almost 20%, or specifically about 18% of the total market today is reverse logistics, right? Which is a very interesting fact, a very large share of what contributes to this figure of 2.5, 2.4 is reverse logistics. From a transportation perspective, the last mile and the line haul transportation. And line haul transportation essentially means transportation in larger trucks or anything more than 500 kilometers in terms of distance, accounts for 95% of the overall cost. Also very interesting, in our analysis of this industry, the average delivery cost has come down by almost half over the past 5 years, right? So that essentially meant that if it cost about 70 rupees to effect a delivery in 2015, today it costs about 37, 38 rupees to effect that same delivery from point A to point B. We're also seeing signs of maturity because today we find that the truck utilization is approximately 80 to 85%, right? And this was a major aspect to initially improve overall efficiency and manage costs. But we're finding that going forward, there's going to be marginal scope for improvement because of high levels of utilization already being achieved. And one of the important things for the logistics operators to appreciate is that on a year-on-year basis, we find that the e-commerce retailers, right? So the customers in this industry expect a 4 to 5% decline in delivery costs per year. So they're very aggressive. They look for high efficiency rates, and that's where aspects like technology, optimization, overall efficiency of logistics is ever important in this sector. So let's have a look at the structure of the e-commerce supply chain. That's obviously an important aspect. And what I've done here, just for the sake of some simplicity, I've tried to break it up into 3 aspects, right? The first mile or the first stage, the second stage, which I'm calling the line haul, and finally the last mile stage, right? I think the important thing to consider for each one of these stages is that there's a lot of dynamic changes that have been playing out in the sector ever since it emerged about 10, 12 years ago. In terms of how e-commerce retailers have operated, we've seen that various models have played out, right? It started initially with the inventory-led model. We then saw a migration to the marketplace model. Today, we hear about the dropship model. Dropship model, for those, is directly from the supplier to the end customer, right? And obviously, there are many variations of how this works. We then have the line haul. And in line haul also, the last 5 years, we've seen significant changes. I think one tremendous change that we have seen is that about 5 or 6 years back, all shipments that were more than 500 kilometers, a large majority, almost 70% of those moved via air line haul, right? However, over the last 5 years, with improved infrastructure, better analytics, more predictability, about 85% of all line haul shipments today move via surface. And that's a significant change. And that's what's really helped bring costs down significantly. We've also seen the emergence of highly specialized transport companies, which focus largely on e-commerce today and have been able to build entire businesses on the back of the e-commerce industry, right? And also changes in the way fulfillment centers operate and the way the strategies employed for fulfillment centers have gone through significant changes over the last half decade. Initially, fulfillment centers, there were fewer, larger fulfillment centers, mainly clustered around some of the key metros. Today, we find that these fulfillment centers are significantly more dispersed We're finding different types of footprints of these fulfillment centers and very different strategies that the e-commerce retailers are considering for their fulfillment center operations, right? And this will again continue to change over the next few years as the industry strives for efficiency and overall optimization. And when you look at the last mile, this is obviously the segment that you and I as consumers are most, most visible to us, right? And again, there have been significant changes here. I think one of the most salient features that we've seen that has shifted is that originally we saw a lot of last mile delivery happening through bikes, right? And everyone, I think, on the streets have seen delivery boys with those large backpacks. But what we've seen is today there's been a significant shift from bikers to vans, particularly one-ton vans, because I think as the number of shipments have increased, as the volume of shipments have increased, e-commerce logistics companies and e-tailers have started to realize that the number of shipments per day and overall efficiency can be influenced significantly by using one-ton vans, right? And therefore, you'll also see that the overall efficiency, the last point, of the delivery agent has also significantly gone up. And all of these contribute to the point I was making in the previous slide around how costs have almost halved in the last 5 years. And there's going to continue to be a lot of focus on cost reduction and at the same time improving efficiency in this industry. Okay, this is again an interesting visual slide. I'll just start by explaining. The teal bubble here are traditional players. By traditional players, I mean India Post, many of the traditional document parcel companies that have been prevalent in India before e-commerce retail came on the scene. We then have captive players. These are obviously captive arms of some of the larger e-commerce players. Then you have e-commerce specialized players. These are companies that again were created only or were founded in the last decade or so and have largely specialized on the e-commerce industry. And you have the emergence of hyperlocal players as well, right? Which is a term that we're getting more and more familiar with. If you go back to FY15, I think what's very evident is that the first wave, and in fact, I would not say FY15, I'd say even in fact further back, I'd say about FY10, between FY10 and FY15, that period, you'll find that the first wave or the first opportunity really came to the traditional players. And these were players that had large networks across India, had access to multiple PIN codes. You'll find that the captive players at that point also were around and commanded a sizable share. And you'll find that the e-commerce players at that point were just about emerging. If you fast forward to the current day, you'll find that the share of the traditional players has significantly diminished, right? And I think one of the challenges with the traditional players, and this is a very important point, we can talk about this later, is that they were really not able to adapt to the requirements of the e-com retail industry and not serve the requirements, right? And therefore, they've seen significant erosion in their market share of e-commerce shipments. You'll find that the e-commerce specialized players, and many of them today are unicorns, even though they were founded 10 years ago, have been able to really crack this market. They understood the DNA, the nuances, the customer requirements, and were able to create a unique product to serve and meet the high SLAs and KPIs of this industry. And you'll find that the captive arms continue to be very dominant, right? In our estimation, they still control about 60%, approximately 60% of the total shipments are controlled in-house by the logistics arms of these big e-com retailers. And you'll also find the emergence of this new play, which is the hyperlocal play, right? Serving omni-channel businesses, serving some micro centers in particular cities. And looking forward, the expectation is that really these two, the captive players, and we expect to see some consolidation here. You'll see the daily shipments will move from 4 million shipments to approximately 24 to 25 million shipments in FY25. And this is really the play for logistics companies and how we see the future when it comes to serving the e-commerce retail industry. And with that, I'll come to my last slide just to summarize. I wanted to make some overarching points. I think we've shared a lot of statistics and content, but from my perspective and our perspective, there are a few very important points that we need to sit back and appreciate about e-commerce retail logistics. Not only in terms of what it does for itself, but how it's influenced the wider sector. I can safely highlight that e-commerce retail and e-commerce retail logistics has really transformed the profile of the logistics sector across the world and definitely here in India, right? I think for starters, it has attracted significant interest and investment both from financial institutions as well as large strategic players. And while I'm highlighting here that over $2 billion have been invested in recent years only in e-commerce retail, I can safely say that over $10 billion have been invested in the wider logistics sector, because what e-commerce retail has done is really raised the profile of the sector, from becoming a sector that really wasn't covered in the news or in any kind of financial journals. Today, it's a front page topic, right? More and more companies are realizing, and more investors are realizing that the future of solving problems is going to be around logistics. And whether you are in e-commerce retail or in another sphere of logistics, one of the things you'll see a lot more investor interest. You'll find that companies are being valued at better levels today. If you look at the stock prices of logistics markets, you'll see that they've consistently increased over the last 10 years, even if they don't have anything to do with e-commerce in any way. And that's simply because of the profile enhancement that e-commerce has really kind of lended to the logistics sector. Second, very important point is talent. Because of this improved profile and increased investment, we're finally seeing an ability not just to attract, but talent is already aware about our sector. We have talent that actually wants to walk in through the door and solve problems, right? Which has been an issue that has plagued the logistics sector for the longest time. And this is, I think, a great shift that we're seeing today. I think third, and again, very important, and many of the companies today that are also participating today are looking for avenues. We may be traditional logistics companies. Till 5-6 years ago, many companies would have not really done anything in e-commerce logistics. But what e-commerce has done is that it's facilitated a new dimension and avenues for progressive logistics companies, right? It's a whole new product. It requires a new approach. And a lot of companies today are trying to solve for that. The fourth point, which I alluded to earlier, even if you're not part of the e-commerce supply chain, we're finding that the influence that e-commerce logistics and e-commerce logistics companies are having is widespread. So whether you're part of the shipping industry, whether you're part of the trucking industry or the traditional warehousing industry, you'll find that the influence of e-commerce logistics, whether it is in terms of processes, in terms of technology adoption, in terms of transforming your value proposition, all these industries today, industries are learning from e-commerce logistics, right? I think fifth, very interesting, e-commerce has really expanded the scope of the logistics sector to serve a wider set of customers. And I say that because this whole last mile delivery didn't exist 10 years ago. In the dictionary of supply chain and logistics, there was no real term like last mile delivery. Last mile delivery basically meant from regional warehouse to a distributor's facility. It did not mean delivery to block A, apartment 23 on 10th floor, right? Which today has become very prevalent. It was only the courier industry that did that, but today we're actually seeing goods and fairly large goods being delivered to the doorstep. So it's really enhanced the playing field for logistics as an industry. And sixth, I think the point that we're all aware of, is driving innovation and technology enablement across the sector, and will continue to do so for the years to come. Thank you. That was my presentation, Shankar. Happy to take questions now or later.
Thank you, Prahlad. Many questions a little bit later. While all of us are very excited with the kind of growth that the industry has given, and when we look at it as a bottle half fell from what it was to what it is, we're all excited. But what you've told everyone in the audience is that it's still not even the tip of the iceberg has been reached, and there is a lot more to do in the coming next 5 years and thereafter. So interesting times and right time for this conference, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of knowledge sharing in this today, and all of us are going to gain from this. We have a product launch now, and I request Armstrong is here to launch an innovative solution for warehouse automation. Over to you, Binoy and team. About 5-10 minutes to complete this.
Yeah, thank you, Shankar. It's indeed a great platform that CI has helped us to launch our new product, Polaris, the cross-belt sorter. The pandemic has affected us deeply, but it has also unprecedentedly brought in challenges about how do we get the right parcel at the right address or the right home within 24 hours, and that too in the best, fastest way possible. The demands in the e-commerce have always been a wave, and if you want to surf the tide and address the ever-changing buying patterns of the consumers, it's extremely important that you are able to scale up your operations with flexibility. Keeping in focus the same day delivery is extremely crucial to achieve operational excellence, let it be at the fulfillment center, let it be at the sort center, let it be at any stage of your complete ecosystem of supply chain. And at the same time, it's extremely important to realize that when the volumes are increasing, as Prahlad rightly said in his presentation, the revenue leakages that are happening due to the volumetric loss or not capturing the right weight or the dimensions or the wrong sorting. We can't ignore such situations while we are all aware about the reverse logistics that's actually contributing to the 20% of the total cost. Armstrong can actually help you to enhance your bottom line, help you to reach your business goals. It will help you to achieve and handle large volumes and variety. And at the same time, it will help you to analyze your data, how the business is going, and help you to take business-assisted decisions. The cross-belt sorter technology is indeed, it's nothing less than a rocket science. And who better than a rocket scientist we have on the board to launch and speak more about the cross-belt sorter. So I have with me Ratnesh Mishra, who's a part of our new product development team, and he's an alumni of the IIT Mumbai. He will help us to educate more on the product. Over to you, Ratnesh.
Yeah, thank you so much, Binoyji, for this nice introduction. So hello, everyone. Very good morning to all. So Armstrong's cross-belt sorter. Firstly, it is a one-stop shop for all the parcels in feed, scanning, weighing, and sorting. Though with a huge range of throughput from 8,000 parcels per hour to 30,000 parcels per hour, which can actually cater up to 6 lakh shipments in a day. To achieve it, secondly, sorting accuracy of 99.9% using configurable carriages and seamless integration with clearly defines the perfect journey of parcel to destination, just like your dream. Apart from it, the third key important point is Armstrong's intelligent business analytics of CBS, which actually opens the opportunity of efficient and scalable business-driven decisions for your industry right from the starting time T0. So apart from all these, the parametric and modular technologies enables design for future scaling with a shorter commissioning time. So yes, transporting goods and safely and gently to the desired destinations, having varieties of shapes, size, parcels, surface characteristics, whether it is a carton, jiffy, polybags, those makes CBS a fully automated and a complete solution. So yes, stay tuned with Armstrong's cross-belt sorter, your parcel and your problem. So thank you so much. Over to you, Sankarji. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. I now declare that the product is launched. There's a product video, I suppose, for 2 minutes.
Yeah. I just request CI team to play the video.
Riyaz?
Mr. Binoy, do you have the video? I thought he will be playing the video.
Okay, sure, no problem. I can play it up for myself.
for the video. Thank you very much. The product is here now. May I now request Mr. Suresh Kumar, Joint Secretary, Department of Commerce, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Department of Logistics, sorry, to give the inaugural address, sir.
Thank you, Shankar. Hope I am audible.
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Shankar, Mr. Prahlad Tanwar, Mr. Nitin Vyas, and all other participants of this virtual seminar on e-commerce retail supply chain 2021. In fact, Mr. Prahlad has given a very elaborate and exhaustive presentation on the topic today and the future roadmap which the sector is looking for. I am very happy to be here today and to share some of my thoughts with respect to the future of e-commerce retail supply chain and the role that logistics is going to play in that. You all may be aware that in 2017, Government of India has created a new division within the Ministry of Commerce for the logistics sector. This division is still in the process of creating a enabling environment for the entire logistics sector in the country. In last 3 years, we in this division has realized, how compartmentalized we are. We have large number of logistic verticals in the country, maybe it air, road, rail, sea, whatnot. And with the invent of e-commerce and the role that the supply chains play in the entire e-commerce, there are many more players in the field today. Now, talking specifically about the e-commerce retail industry in the country, as Prahlad has very nicely put it, considering the population and considering the increasing economic development, considering the increasing internet penetration and increasing use of e-commerce in the country, in another 5 to 10 years, definitely India is going to have 3 to 5 times the size what we have today. It could be much more depending upon various factors, like this COVID disruption which you have seen in last 1 year. In fact, this has actually one of the positive effects, if I should put it that way, is to actually increase the digital payments and the e-commerce sector. Maybe we don't look forward for such disruptions in the economy, but still this was a positive. So maybe the growth could be much more than what we are actually projecting today. And logistics needs of the e-commerce retail sector are evolving rapidly with the changing business requirements, which again was also mentioned by Prahlad. And there is a need to have coherent yet efficient logistics setup to cater to this enormous industry. Now, even the shift in the product, what he has mentioned from high value, small size products, mainly electronics and other things, we are seeing a shift to small value, high volume products, be it fashion, be it retail, be it footwear, be it grocery. Similarly, the shift from the metros to the tier 2, tier 3 cities. These are all challenges as well as great opportunities for the players in the logistics sector in this field. Increase in the surface transit, large e-retailers are expected to continue to expand their footprint, rise in demand from the small cities, new product categories, as already was clearly elaborated. These are all going to be great opportunities and opportunities for many new startups, because existing traditional companies may not be able to maneuver and leverage this so as fast as a startup company which is coming to the sector. We can see that in one of the areas where we find large number of startups, disruptors coming is in this sector. So this throws out a lot of innumerable opportunities for a lot of players here. Now, coming specifically, I am not going to delve into this sector because experts have already spoken. But at the same time, the opportunities which are in front of us includes large number of things like IoT, digitization, advanced algorithms, artificial intelligence, automation, analytics, you name it. Anything which is related to the latest information technology field will all have a significant role to play in this sector. Ultimately, the objective is the fulfill the customer expectation and also tackle the customer unpredictability, which again is a big challenge for many of the successful companies to handle. Reliability is very important. To fulfill the service levels, very important. So this is that way. I would say that this is a great opportunity and a great field for many new things to happen. Now coming to the specific role which from the government, what we think we should be playing is that as I mentioned in the beginning, we find that there is a lot of compartmentalization in so many things. So the primary objective, the bottom line at which we are now working today is to create an integrated logistics sector, an integrated logistic policy which is already under circulation, and a lot of stakeholder consultation has happened, and this is in the process of getting finalized. Along with that, a national logistic bill is also under preparation, which will in fact reduce a lot of compliances today. Now you know that if you have to transport something through multiple channels by rail, road, air and all, you need to have different types of invoices today, increasing the cost of compliance. The same same invoice may not be applicable in all the places. Now this is a big issue for many companies. Now we are looking at how we can simplify it, how we can change the existing laws, rules, regulations to cater to an omni-channel logistics sector, which was not existing when these laws were created maybe 20 years, 30 years, 40 years back. Now we have to redo all these things, which again, I hope you will appreciate that in government, to change the existing laws or, throw away the existing law and bring a new, it is what you call easier said than done. So we are in the process of so many consultation, and I can tell you that once, this process, is completed, there is going to be a lot of integration, optimization, standardization, modernization, formalization and democratization of the entire gamut of this logistics sector. This is what we are looking at through this new national logistic policy. Again, not just that we will be trying to achieve this. The objective is to ensure that the cost of logistics in the country today, which is estimated informally by various estimates to be around 14 to 15% of the total cost. Now, and this is considered to be almost about 50 to 75% more than comparable economies like China. Our objective is to at least bring it down to 5%. 5 to 8% is a realistic figure, which we are actually based on various calculations, various estimates. So if we can do through all these processes, if we can bring it from the 14% today down to 5%, this itself will be a huge fillip to the economy, fillip to the GDP. And also to establish indigenous India specific metrics for continual improvement in the logistics, because today we have a lot of global indices, including the logistic performance index and so many other things which we have studied many of them. Some of them are not suitable for a country like India. Now we are comparing India's logistic performance to a country like Singapore or Sweden or Finland. We know that there are even states or cities bigger than those countries in India. Now we can't try to copy their models to India and say that, look, we are going to achieve it. Absolutely, it is impossible. Now we have to find our own new specific matrices, new technology, which this is again a challenge in all these process. It is not that government alone can deliver this. This needs a lot of industry involvement, industry participation, academia involvement. So we in this ministry is now trying to create this enabling environment wherein the industry involved in these sectors and the academia, including IITs, IIMs, various institutes in the country who have a lot of knowledge, but they need to actually refine their knowledge to cater to the demand of the industry and then come out with a commercially viable product. This is a very big challenge, though this is happening in various areas, and this CII Institute of Logistics is also playing a role in this. We need to actually increase this. These are only small initiatives happening here and there. We need this to happen in a much bigger scale. So we definitely look forward for working closely with various industry stakeholders in ensuring this. As was mentioned, first mile connectivity, last mile connectivity, long haul, all these things, all these have its own different challenges, and you can't have a same solution for all these things. Another important initiative which we are trying to do is the warehousing facilities in the country, logistic parks and terminals in the country. Now this again, warehousing in the country, we have large number of warehouses, but there's absolutely no standardization, absolutely no fair rules and guidelines for a warehouse. We have registered warehouses, unregistered warehouses, legal, illegal, so many things. We are trying to actually map the warehouses in the country. This is very important, because otherwise this creates a lot of problems, especially from the point of view of agriculture commodities, which we were looking at. Today we know that in our country we produce large items in surplus, much more than what we need to consume, but then there's a huge wastage, going even up to 30 to 40% of wastage happens in many agriculture, horticulture, floriculture items. Why is it happening? Lack of integrated cold chain, lack of integrated warehousing facilities. So many issues are there, including, so many issues. I don't want to actually go into detail. This is another area where in the national logistic policy, we are trying to develop comprehensive standards for warehousing to achieve cost effectiveness, and also to have global quality standards. One of the reasons why we are not able to export our mangoes or bananas or lychees, though we have surplus, is that globally this is not accepted, because we don't have proper grading system, we don't have proper cooling system, we don't have proper standardization. Similar is the case with packaging industry. Of course, a lot of improvement has happened in the packaging industry thanks to the e-commerce, but still we need to innovate much more, because there is a concern about sustainability, about green packaging, about reusing, recycling of packaging. This is an area where, again, an area where we are working. Cold chain systems and the national grid of terminals and logistics parks. We have a lot of terminal logistic parks across the country, but multi-modal logistic park is in need of the hour. We have seen that many government promoted logistics parks across the country. It may be integrated, inland container depots or terminals. Many of them have huge land, but managed very inefficiently. Very poor infrastructure. In fact, the time taken for a container to go in and come out will be much more than the time taken for that container to come from Singapore to India. Now, this is a reality which we have to accept. Same is the case with so many ports in the country. The time taken for the container to come out of the port gate and in particular after completing all the customs clearance, other things, is much more than the time it would have taken to come from the particular Middle East. So this is the reality with which we are trying to change. This needs a lot of concerted effort from central government institutions, central government departments, state governments, local bodies, industries. So this is a huge challenge which we have. We are confident and we are hopeful that with the awareness today we have in this sector, with the recognition of the importance of this sector for the entire economy and the future which it beholds, all the stakeholders, all the players in this sector will come together, work together, and help creating a conducive environment, a facilitating environment through which we can actually achieve the target set by Mr. Prahlad much before 2025. That's where we are looking at. So I am very hopeful that this event today, organized by CII and the Logistic Center, will be a great foundation for actually taking these ideas to more people, think together and work together and come out with solutions. I take this opportunity to thank all of you for giving me this opportunity, and wish you all the best, and all the best for the sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It was really inspiring to hear you and the initiatives taken by the government, especially in terms of the national logistics policy, the national logistics bill, and the infrastructure creation that you're looking at. As you have rightly said, that CIA Institute of Logistics is always working with the government in enabling growth for the sector and in debottlenecking all the issues that we have. And Government of India has taken this initiative of bringing down the logistics cost as a percentage of GDP from 15% to under 10%. And surely we assure you that the industry will work closely with the government in enabling this to happen. And it's going to be ultimately the citizens of the country who are going to get benefited by this as consumers. Thank you very much, sir, for your great speech. Moving on to the next part of the agenda, it's the felicitation of the track winners. I hand it over to Mr. Ashokan Satyanathan, who is the chief mentor of the track initiative, to take over from here. Over to you, Ashokan. Ashokan,
you have to unmute.
Thank you, Shankar. Good morning, everybody. Mr. Suresh, Dr. Bhanumati, and my co-panelist. Thank you very much for this opportunity to present the story of track initiated by CIA Institute of Logistics. It was almost a year. It was May 2020 when we had everywhere, every discussion was about supply chain. The country had just entered into a lockdown, and the pandemic was very large. Nobody knew when it's going to end. And supply chain, from being a support function, suddenly jumped up to being a savior, jumped up to be a value-adding function. And that's a time in which at CIA, we were looking at what is that which you could do. CIA Institute of Logistics has been conducting many programs for sprucing up the supply chain skills in the country. Through its own MBA programs, permanent ones, as well as from various seminars and educational programs. But then those educational programs were more of trying to teach people, trying to introduce people to new concepts. But what we felt was the time is today to look at more of practical approaches and what can be done to implement some of the knowledge in order to get out of the rut and make things happen once again. And when the lockdown gets lifted, supply chain is going to be under tremendous pressure. And how do we increase the resilience? How do you increase the effectiveness of a supply chain and reduce the uncertainties and improve the sustenance? These were the objectives with which the CIA Institute of Logistics and the team started thinking into what we can do. We came out with a program called a mentorship program. What is different? Next slide. Now, while we are looking at supply chain has various facets. What are those facets of supply chain? Yeah, next. Right. The various supply chain facets, right from the beginning, where we do a planning to final achievement, whether it is planning or procurement or production support or in-plant logistics and warehousing management and material handling equipments and advancements with thereof, and the distribution and the customer care, which is again both inbound as well as the outbound maximum, and multimodal logistics and technology and digitalization and the sustainability and green supply chain. In each of these areas, there are plenty of new things which has been happening across the world. And if we were to educate, if we were to get the people who are engaged in supply chain within the country together, it was a monumental task. We thought that it will be better that we get into a mentorship program, and we titled the mentorship program as a track. Track is about transformation. It's about research. It's about making assessment of the current conditions and to challenge them and bring knowledge to change. So this is the entire program outline of a track. What we thought was, instead of being a normal program, instead just a lecture program, we make it a mentorship program in which qualified mentors will help the individuals to get into various skills and start applying those skills to their respective field. And we had conducted 4 batches, 312 people have participated, and more than 60 companies have been there who have sponsored them. And the entire program was handled by an able panel of 10 mentors. And I should compliment the CII Institute of Logistics for putting together such a elite panel within the shortest possible time. All these mentors put together share about 400 years of actual work experience in the areas of supply chain and the respective fields. And I'd like to thank Dr. Sanjeevi, who's currently advisor Vellore Institute of Technology, and also one of my co-chief mentor in designing this program and administering it. Apart from that, we had Mr. Raman, a consultant and a leadership coach, and Mr. Kamlesh and Thakur, was again another global supply chain expert to participate, and Mr. Arvind Kalra, who's another supply chain expert who's working as a consultant today. And Mr. Chandramouli, a consultant and industry coach, veteran in supply chain, and Mr. Zuzar Maskan, who's again a logistics veteran, and he is currently the founder and CEO of Reciprocity Private Limited. Mr. Ajit Jangle, co-founder and CEO, GRV Junction Agritech, which is an agricultural logistics company. And Dr. Anita Kumar, who's also the director of CII Institute of School of Logistics at Amity, along with Amity University, Noida. And Mr. Ramesh Dharmu, founder and director, who's a GMB consultant. And myself, Ashokan, and I run a technology company called AHA Technologies, which is giving 2 online SaaS-based software for supply chain enhancement, both on buy side and sell side, DigiProcure and DigiSell. So these 10 mentors conducted 8 sessions each, meaning 1.5 hours each session, and run through 8 individual sessions for 4 weeks of mentoring and coaching. What is different? What is the entire team was at it and used to get the questions from the customer supply, the participants, and provide answers during the session itself or even thereafter, and do hand holding to enable them to convert some of the learnings which they get through this 1.5 hours of programs into practical examples of work which they can do in their spot. And thereby they'll be able to increase the supply chain resilience. That was the primary aim, and that was carried out very, very effectively by these mentors of a track. Next. Now, what we also said that apart from making the people to attend and benefit, all of them will get benefited, but in order to make an assessment and also take a feedback for ourselves to improve the program in the next sessions, etc., how do we try and assess the methodology and assess the intake which these participants had? So we went through a very, very structured methodology of ranking the participants' prowess, the participants' absorption of what they have learned and how they are able to apply to the real life situation. And this went through various stages. We were observing very keenly the active participation of the members, whether it is asking questions and of the program queries which they have raised, and how they have been able to facilitate the learning for other people. Then we conducted a post-event quiz program, primarily taken from the learnings what they had through this program, and based on all the 8 programs in an evenly distributed basis, we conducted quiz program on an online quiz for everybody. And then, it had its own technology features, like nobody will be able to copy and everything will be scrambled, and even the answers will get scrambled. It's all multiple choices. And therefore, even if you're sitting next to each other, one would not be able to just answer or copy the answer from somebody else. So all these online tools and techniques were used to ensure that we are able to get into the right people. And after that, there was a write-up on the SCM project, supply chain project, which they conceived, which will significantly improve the supply chain deliveries in their respective organizations, were asked to be identified, and the people are required to write and send it across to the mentors. The mentors went through that, selected based on all these inputs some set of people. And those people were personally, through a video call, somewhere about 20 to 30 minutes call with each participants were conducted by the mentors to select the people or rank them as to what it is. So based on that scoring and selection, we have now come to a situation where we want to felicitate the winners. Before I go into it, I just wanted to tell you that we are very proud that the quality of people in supply chain who are today are in the industry are really, really high class. And they're very, very proud that some of the cream of the people who participate in the program, and by no means we are suggesting that the winners of this program are anyway in a very high pedestal compared to others. It has been a very, very tough competition. The winner and others have been separated by just whiskers. And I would always appeal to other people who are not being the winners here, continue the good work which you're doing, continue the learning, and continue to learn till your life, so that you'll be able to apply those learnings to the requirement. So now it's time to look at what is the kind of winners. Now, before I go into announcing the winners, I must also tell you that these winners are, they are amazing people. And the way in which they've been able to absorb what has been told to them in the 12-hour session, which they had over 8 days, and also the way in which they've been able to appreciate, understand the real life situation in the respective field, and what kind of a solution which can be brought in by supply chain team is something which is remarkable. Thirdly, I would also like to mention that the maturity of the team which have made the presentations are so high that they were not even looking at only what they can do as an individual or a team under them. They were looking at projects which are multifunctional projects cutting across the company and trying to do that. I'm not going to be under an illusion that this project would have been implemented only by these people. Probably their organization and the other departments and other functions should have helped them to implement those projects to get the best out of it. But nevertheless, I would feel that the genesis of the idea, planting that information, what is required to be done, maybe the problem statement existed earlier, but the way in which structurally they found the solution and applied a scientific basis to come out with the resource requirements and the project planning were something which is noteworthy. And we as mentors, we are very happy to see that, I mean, we were all supply chain guys in our own life cycle. But today to see that youngsters coming out with the solutions which are path-breaking is something which is very, very noteworthy. With that note, let me just move on to announce the winners. I'll start from the reverse order. Mr. S.M. Subramaniam, Manager Logistics Center of Excellence in JSW Steel Limited, wins the 3rd place in the CII Track Champion 2020. This gentleman had, every one of them are presented in the quiz program, a very, very bright face. All of them scored very high in the quiz program. That shows the way in which they are attentive to the program. And I can say that many of the questions were centric on the inputs which you provided. And therefore, I'm very happy that they could do that. And second, this gentleman had come out with a very audacious target of improvement of 20% improvement in productivity and efficiency of the logistics operations which are being carried out by, this gentleman had come out with a project of improving the entire custom clearance procedure, the time taken for, Mr. Suresh talked about it, the time taken to take a container out, how will we be able to improve the entire thing? And also they try to get the documentation right by digitalizing entire process. That the process which he has submitted, and that project he had taken for implementation. And I'm sure by this time it should have been implemented. And we are very happy in felicitating Mr. S.M. Subramaniam as a 3rd prize winner in this program. The second prize winner is Mr. Shailendra Verma from NTL Logistics India Private Limited. I'm sorry, this is the gentleman who took the audacious target of improving the logistics operation of NTL Logistics by 20% in terms of productivity and efficiency. What was appealing to us in this entire presentation, even though it's a very motherhood statement, but the way in which he has broken up various elements which leads to logistics operation, efficiency and productivity in a unit of his size and caliber, and how each department, each function, each individual can contribute to that is something which is very noteworthy. A very noble thought. I don't think, and none of us believe that it can be implemented over a 2 month, 3 months or a 1 year period, but it sets a blueprint for this company to take it up and run with that as an improvement target for future to be one of the winners in the business world. So congratulations to Shailendra Verma, Assistant General Manager, SCM in NTL Logistics India Private Limited. Now coming to the last and the best one, I have pleasure in announcing Mr. Vaibhav Mangonkar, Senior Manager SCM of Calderis India Refractories Limited as a winner of CII Track Champion 2020, which is he's the first inaugural session, and therefore is the inaugural winner. All of you would remember that which franchisee won IPL number 1. And if I ask you IPL number 3, IPL number 4, you may not be able to tell me. But when it comes to IPL number 1, everybody will remember. So Mr. Vaibhav Mangonkar will be remembered as the inaugural champion of CII Track Champion 2020. His project is about getting the lead time for buying raw material in the refractory unit reduced drastically. And this involved a multiple level of planning within the organization, different level of involvement of marketing, production people, production planning, logistics, supply chain, procurement, and even the vendor themselves. How all of them can be brought into one thing and with a shared goal congruence, how they'll be able to achieve a reduction in lead time is what the project which is brought in by the gentleman. And we're very happy that these youngsters think so loudly and so clearly, and also understand the value of team working, collaboration amongst various functions in the company, and try to come out with something which is very good. So I would be very, very happy to announce that Vaibhav Mangonkar would be a role model. Now coming to the last thing, and we would be failing in our duty if we don't recognize the companies which sponsored them. Calderis is the company which has sponsored multiple people for this program. And one of the things which we felt very happy about that, apart from GSW and a few other people have also done that, Hyundai Motor Corporation, there are a lot of people have done that. But what we are very happy about it is that they were able to get the wider cross-section of the people to attend the program, go through the same level of inputs so that every one of them get benefited and every one of them get to convert it into a new religion when they go back to their work spot. And thereby, there is no difference in the understanding and difference in the conceptual framework which each people have changed. So this kind of a group working or a group sessions for the entire company or the relevant people being participating over a 4-week and 8 days and 12 hours module is something which is really price-worthy. On that ground, we would, and also, I must convey that from Calderis, he's not the only person. Even the other people who participated were very close contenders for the award. Probably they would have missed out by a small margin because of the multiple voting and the things like that. Otherwise, they are no less than the winner. So therefore, for having such a wonderful team and having participated in the program, having supported CII Institute of Logistics, we are happy to announce Calderis India Refractory Limited is selected as the CII Track Champion for 2020, and this flag will be presented. All these awards will be presented physically to the individuals through the channel, through not sending through a courier company, but a proper way, and they will be handed over, they will be felicitated, and we will take care of that. And finally, I'd like to CI Institute of Logistics, and on my behalf, having worked in this program for more than a year now, I'd like to thank all the mentors who had put in so much of effort, and the quality of presentations have been superb, and the way in which they pedaled each question, the way in which they went back and did the homework and updated their own knowledge about this subject is something which is priceworthy. And all the supporting companies which has worked and which has helped out, and the staff in CI Institute of Logistics who put untiring efforts in making every question brought forward and answers to be provided to everybody. And similarly, the administration of the work, in spite of all the issues on connectivity, these, that, etc., they have never been let down. And so that's something which is, and there are a number of occasions where we have to sequence change due to various reasons, but we never lost the sight of what is required for everybody. And I would also like to thank at this particular point of time, Dr. K. Ganesh from McKinsey, who has also supported on the green supply chain initiatives and brought in a lot of new insights to the participants. And he was there in every session altogether. And I would like to thank all the people who were engaged in the design and execution of this program. We are also pleased to announce that this program continues for 2021 also. Already 2 batches have been completed, and the next batch is scheduled between 15th of June and 8th of July 2021. We would be very pleased to invite all of you for the next batch and the batch thereafter, so that everyone gets benefited on that. I am very particularly, especially very excited about the way in which the program has been conducted. And this is one of the very high quality, the skill change program, which has been introduced by CI Logistics. And thank you very much to everyone.
Thank you very much, Ashokan, for highlighting the details of the program and very greatly explaining in detail what the participants went through. Yes, I understand it's a very great program for practicing supply chain managers, especially the young budding ones. And I'm sure that with your leadership, this will go to greater heights in the coming year as well. Thank you very much, Ashokan. Over to Nitin Vyas for the closing remarks of the conference.
Thanks, Shankar. I'm audible. That's the first thing you ask in the virtual conferences, right? So, Mr. Suresh Kumar, Joint Secretary, Logistics, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. Mr. Shankar, Member, CII National Committee on Logistics and Group CEO, TVS Supply Chain Solutions. Mr. Prahlad Tanwar, Partner and National Lead, Transport and Logistics, KPMG in India. Distinguished speakers, all the invitees, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. We are running a little bit late on time, so I'll try to conclude my remarks a little fast. It's a privilege and honor for me to conduct concluding remarks in this session of e-commerce retail supply chain. On behalf of CII and on my personal behalf, I take immense pleasure in thanking Mr. Suresh Kumar, Joint Secretary, Logistics, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, on coming on this occasion and giving his thoughts. It was heartening to see how openly and how candidly he spoke, and who openly talked about the challenges which the logistics sector in India is facing. And I believe the first step in solving any problem is to accept the challenge, and then you can convert that challenge into an opportunity. I think he mentioned it very clearly. The role of the government is to become an enabler, to break the walls of all the silos, all the compartments which have been built over the years, and create an integrated logistics industry. Reduction of compliances. He touched a very nice point of creating omni-channels, and I think which is the need, not just focusing on the e-commerce, but going into the omni-channel. I fully agree with the point which he mentioned that COVID gave, I think, a tailwind to the logistics industry, and particularly to e-commerce industry. We see this now globally, that e-commerce, the COVID acted as a catalyst for the logistics industry, for e-commerce, digital payments, and so forth. Going forward, many thanks to Mr. Shankar, Member, CII National Committee on Logistics and Group CEO, TVS Supply Chain Solutions, for his welcome address, for setting the tone of the conference, the day's deliberation. He spoke about the growth in the e-retail, e-com retail, and also touched upon the last mile delivery. So thanks, Shankar, for your opening remarks and taking it over there. Let me also take this opportunity to thank Mr. Prahlad Tanwar, partner and national lead, transport and logistics, KPMG in India. I think he did with his data, he just opened up a roadmap for many people, many logisticians and the logistics industry, that what lies ahead of us. Even though when he's mentioning the data is mentioning that India is only 4% in terms of the e-commerce penetration out of the $4.2 trillion economy, which is driven out of this. I see it's a great opportunity looking at where the developed nations are and where China is going. It's a numbers which we are tracking for last 5-7 years, how China is growing. I'm not sure if we reach over there, and looking at their internet users of 57% and e-commerce online buying of 46%. It's phenomenal how close it is. I'm not sure how we will reach, but I think the points mentioned by him that penetration is still an area where India has to do, India will do. One of the most fascinating point which Prahlad's presentation gave about the per day shipment, and that's a great interesting point for all the logistics companies and all the people who are working in the logistics industry. In the present year, we are at around 4.5 million shipments per day, but going forward the next 4 to 5 years, the forecast is of around 25 million shipments a day, and that's phenomenal. And that kind of growth needs a lot of manpower, but more than manpower, you can only increase a manpower to a limit, but that needs a lot of automation, a lot of technology in there. So further, the growth in the different categories and in the different industry. I can keep on going and repeating what Prahlad said, but it was amazing to see what Prahlad brought on the table and which could help. Going forward, I think one of the points which Prahlad did mention is efficiency and optimization. I think there is going to be cost pressure. The cost pressures are already there. Everybody claims they have reduced the costs, and further customers are still asking for costs to go down. And I think you can reduce the cost of manpower, cost of equipment to a limit, but you can increase your cost effectiveness. You can improve the cost base by bringing in efficiency, by optimizing your processes. And I think that's the area one needs to look into efficiency optimization. I would also give a couple of thoughts that when we are talking about and deliberating today, we do think about the last mile delivery and the line hauls, but in that, think about the sustainability of the environment when we devise our equipments, processes, and logistics. And I think logistics industry has to play a big role in sustainability. So think about that. And sustainability is not only just about the environment, but the society. The truckers is a one big part of the logistics industry, and taking care of those truckers and bringing them in the role. I think that's plays a big role in the sustainability part. And also, as Mr. Suresh Kumar said, I would repeat that the world has seen how the logistics industry has grown, and currently we see globally right now it's a booming industry. We as a global company, we are getting blocked by some big. They are blocking the capacity of ours for 2 years, because that's the kind of growth 3 years it is going to be. We are overwhelmed with orders, but India has its own preferences. India has its own challenges. India is a little bit different how we operate. So let's not copy what the Western world has done, but learn from that and develop our own logistics system. So thanks for hearing me out on a few of the points. I would like to thank our supporters of the conference, TVS Supply Chain Solutions, Armstrong, Bäumer Group, Here Technologies, Mahindra Logistics, Logos, and Freight Systems. Also, I would like to congratulate the winners who were just announced for the first edition of Track Winners. We have eminent speakers today whole day who will present and share their experiences at this digital conference. I'm sure this will be excellent learning experience for all. All the participants, all the invitees, all the speakers, friends, I wish the e-commerce retail supply chain 2021 a grand success. Thank you all. Have a great day. Have a great session, great conference. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nitin, for your closing remarks. Really wonderful. And we come to the end of the inaugural session. And I think the next session is at 11:30, hardly 4 minutes away. So please do come on time. There's a lot more that's awaiting you all in terms of deliberations and discussions. Have a great day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.